The following episode contains discussion on suicide. Need to talk to someone? Call Lifeline on 13 11 14 or visit lifeline.org.au.
Lance Franklin joins the 100 club. People power has spoken. Crawford, who else? Who else but Shane Crawford?
Welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show. Brought to you by AIA Australia, a life, health and wellbeing insurer with a commitment to help Australians lead healthier, longer, better lives.
Hello and welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show. How are you, bud?
I'm really well,
You're
mate.
looking like you're ready to go for a run.
I am. After this, big run.
Are
big
you?
run ahead.
Through the hills.
Through the hills.
You're on
Through the
fire.
hills,
You're looking
so-
amazing. You got a glow about you.
Thank you, mate.
You come in here looking like you're ready to make a comeback. I tell you what, the Swans could use a forward. What are you laughing about?
They probably could.
Well, I think they need more than a forward. We'll talk about that. Don't forget you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast channels on our socials, which Buddy's all over. He runs.
Absolutely.
The Buddy and Shane Show. Let's just rip straight into it. So Douglas Nicholls round. So it's a very special round for the Indigenous community. So for you, what did that mean every time that you got to play every year, you know? So
Absolutely loved it. I think it's a special round, obviously, for the Indigenous boys, but the non-Indigenous boys really get something out of it, and Hawthorn and Sydney really respected the cultures really well and did a lot of education in that part. But, yeah, I absolutely loved it, and, you know, it was one of the best rounds to play in, to represent your people, go out there and play was awesome. But yeah, it was one of the rounds I really look forward to, and they started it on Thursday night. Usually it's a Friday night, but the first game was on Thursday night with Gold Coast Hawks, and it was a great start to the round, wasn't it?
I like how every club does it differently, and you see the players come in together and they exchange gifts, which is cool. So it's got a nice feel about it, hasn't it?
Certainly does. I think, the gifts they exchange, a lot of the clubs put a lot of effort into that. So when you get the gift, you definitely keep it or give it to the club.
I was trying to put my top 5 Indigenous players, not necessarily the past, because just the players that I played against. It's quite hard to do. So who
would
was
be
someone
mine?
that you grew up loving to watch? And then obviously, you know, some of the players that you played with. I know you could name quite a lot, but give me your very, very best.
Well, I grew up a Melbourne supporter, so Jeff Farmer was one of my favourites. Loved the whiz.
What about his mark?
The mark was incredible. He was a good player. He's a very, very good player. So
high, really.
Whiz, I think Goodsy, no doubt. I think Goodsy was incredible. Then again, the opportunity to play with him a bit later in my career was awesome. Feel pretty blessed with the players that I was able to play with throughout my career. I think, obviously, Sean Burgoyne, Cyril, Goodsy, pretty incredible players to have played with. I think they'd have to go down to some of the best in the history of the game.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. And they're also different and play different positions, which, you know, is just something that we all admire. Now, my top 5, if I had to put a top 5, Chance Bateman's in there.
Yeah.
Andrew McLeod would have to be in there. Adam Goods, Mark Williams below. And that's about it. I'd leave it at that.
What's that top 5 VFL players?
Yeah, I couldn't fit you in. No, but I love it. It's fantastic. It's a great round. Gold Coast, great win over the Hawks. They were challenged. The Hawks played really well up in Darwin. I thought it was a pretty good effort by them, but Gold Coast showing a hard edge. I know you don't think they're going to make the finals, which is fair enough, but surely there's something there for you.
Off to a good start here, aren't we?
Surely there's something there for you to say that, hey, this is a different team.
Well, it was in Darwin. Let's not forget that.
That's true.
But no, I think, Gold Coast played a terrific game, but so did Hawthorn. Hawthorn didn't give up. Like, you'd probably look at that and go, Gold Coast are probably going to beat them by 5 goals, but the little whiz, I think he really kept him in the game. To be doing that in his, second year, kicked 3 goals, really got him started and really put him back in the game. And, I thought Hawthorn were tremendous, but Gold Coast got over the line. They're really showing maturity now, aren't they? When they do get challenged, they're able to come back and stay in the game, which is really, really good for them. But yeah, Darwin's been a fortress for them for a little while now, which has been awesome for them.
Yeah, it's when you think about Witts, Anderson, Rao, Miller through the middle, they were very, very good through there. And not just this game, they've been good all year, but it's just they've got such a hard edge to them. And, yeah, second half of the year, they've normally faded out, history tells you. I've got a feeling it's not going to happen this year. So I know Hawks rested a few, but Gold Coast came to play, backed it up after a very good win against the informed side of the competition, the Bulldogs. So well done to the Gold Coast Sun, our second team on the show.
I will say Anderson, I think he's very underrated. I think what he's doing, he's obviously got good skills. He kicks the ball really well, but he's also very strong. He's not very well, like a big body, but he's strong. He keeps his head over the ball, goes hard, and I think he really set them up. And there was a captain's game on the weekend.
And he's a running machine too. And he should have been a Hawthorn player, really, when you think about it. I think he missed by one game. His dad, father, son, which is going to hurt us, I think. Sydney, your team, second team, third team, whatever, first team.
First team.
They're back, 16-point victory over the Blues. It was a great win because history tells you the Swans don't start well, never do, especially over the last couple of years. And then they found a way to just dig deep, hang tough. Third quarter, your man, you said a few weeks ago, Isaac Heaney, you said, Warner, you've got to shut him out of the game and you'll win the game.
Yeah.
So you've given us the secret formula. And Heaney has 13 touches in the third quarter and then goes and dominates in the last quarter. What on earth happened?
Well, Vossi probably should have watched the podcast, but no, I think that's been the story for the last year and a half now. I think when they are challenged, especially last year, and probably not so much this year, but when they are challenged, you've really got to, like Heaney, Chad, they step up and play amazing, and they did again on the weekend. But like if you're opposition, you need to stay on them. You can't let them off the chain because they're too damaging. Like I think. Heaney had 38 touches, had 7 or 8 shots at goal. That's an incredible game. You think at some stage Vossi would have said, okay, why doesn't Cripps go to him around stoppage or play on him as a captain? That's what I would have done. I would have said, as a captain of the footy club, you go and limit Heaney's influence. But unfortunately they didn't, and the game got away from them. So I think they'll be kicking themselves that they didn't put some more time into both of them.
Heaney had 15 touches in the third quarter and kicked 3 points. If there wasn't alarm bells
and a goal
there, in the third quarter.
I thought you said fourth, sorry. Yeah,
oh, no, the fourth quarter, yeah. And so, like Warner, I don't understand teams, how you can allow certain players, especially forward half, to have the freedom to run, find a bit of space and be able to have 3 or 4 steps to control and kick the footy because they're so damaging with what they did. And Carlton... Heaney went into the middle last quarter at times and he would start on Cripps or not sure who else. But anyway, and then as play would happen, he would naturally drift forward and he was popping up with space and having a huge influence. And I don't get it as an older has-been. Yeah. I don't get it how, it's not just Heaney and Warner being able to sort of have that freedom to find the ball, but I'm talking about side bottom. I'm talking about Nick Dacos. I'm talking about Isaac Rankin. They're red alert players. Yeah. You just shut them out, forward half, 100% of the game as much as you can. You got to have someone that just follows them. And don't give me this team defence bullshit. Don't give me that, it takes one out of our zone. And
well, I think
you can change all that.
Yeah, I think the Carlton senior players have to be looking at that and going, you know what? As soon as you're seeing it, as a leader, you've got to be going, okay, someone needs to get to Heaney, someone needs to get to Chad and stop these guys having the influence they were having. So I'm sure they'll be sitting there today in the team meeting going, well, we should have just got tighter on these guys and stopped the momentum because it's a game they should have really won. Carlton started really well, probably should have put them away and a lot more. They had a lot more inside 50s. The bigs were playing really well, so they probably could have put another 3 or 4 goals on them, really taking the game away from them. But yeah, I think that was a real game that got away from Carlton. They'll be disappointed. It's another game they've faded late, and that's been the story of the year so far for them. Is it fitness? Is it the leaders not doing what they probably should in big games? I think that these are all the things I'll be speaking about today for sure.
So Heaney and Warner, 4 goals and 68 possessions for the game.
That was pretty much the whole story of last year. That's exactly what they did every game.
You circled them start of the year. Not that you were trying to say, hey, this is how you beat the Swans, but these 2 are our best players. You've got no Goulden. Papali's out. You know, you've just got to go and do the job on them. Even if you've got a double team, you just got to find a way. Anyway, and both these sides, this season was on the line. They had to win to keep their season alive and give them a chance to maybe sneak into the finals. Carlton are just relying on too few at the moment, and it's not good enough. We're going to do a bit of a grading later.
Yeah, it'll be interesting where they'll be graded.
We might do that as a separate podcast. But anyway, they're not going to rate too well. Collingwood, I was worried with them coming back from Perth, a bit like I was worried about the Bulldogs coming back from Darwin, being a bit fatigued. Definitely wasn't the case with the Bulldogs. Your team, I tell you, there's another thing. So
good.
You said with Sydney, shut these players down. You said with the Bulldogs, Beveridge is the best coach going around. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a sec. But Collingwood, 10 points over Adelaide. A couple of defenders for Collingwood did a good job on some of the tools for Adelaide. And Collingwood just get the job done.
So let's talk. So Collingwood had no DeGoey, no Schultz, no McStay, and still win against
and no worries.
Potentially a top 4 side in Adelaide, which I think they're probably a top 4 to top 6 team. They had opportunities at Adelaide to win the game too. They played pretty well, but Collingwood, they're just playing some really good football, aren't they? They're just attacking. They play a great brand. Everyone looks like they're enjoying themselves. And all the senior players are doing what they're supposed to do, which is nice.
Do they deserve to be flag favourites, the Pies?
I think so. I think them and Bulldogs are the 2 best teams in it by a little bit of a margin, and then I'll probably put that Hawthorn just under them. But time will tell.
And a shout out to Frampton, who did a great job on Thilthorpe, who didn't kick a goal first time all year. He's a bit underrated too.
He is.
Oh, so he knows
he
them well?
Adelaide before? Was he Frampton? I think he was a Crows player before, but he's been good.
So you reckon some intimate knowledge he might have known the right strings to pull?
Absolutely.
Just shut down
I think, a
dangerous forward.
He's obviously done his homework on how to shut him down, but it's one thing to do your homework, but it's another thing to go out there and deliver, and to keep him goalless was an awesome effort, really.
The Cats smashed Port Adelaide, 76 points. Your man, Jeremy Cameron.
Yep.
He's up and about again. And the thing is, he's sort of, I don't know if he's carrying an injury or whatever it is, but he's still high in the goal kicking, so he's not far off winning the goal kicking.
He's second on the 27 goals.
And he's just starting to kick into gear now, which is pretty dangerous. And that's probably off the back of Dangerfield going out with a hamstring during the match. So then his obviously role was more significant and didn't have to share that load. So, and Bailey Smith.
Yep.
He's got to be in Brownlow contention, doesn't he?
Absolutely. I think
someone's got to get their votes.
We'd be up there. He's averaging, I think, 30 touches a game. He's been so good for him, hasn't he? Really, he's just come in, had a terrific season, and then Jezza, 7 goals. I reckon he could be a Coleman medalist this year again, so it'd be interesting. He's had an unbelievable year too. He gets up the ground, gets all his touches, then works his defender over, getting back to goal. But I thought it was a pretty disappointing game from Port, considering where their season's at. To lose by 76, Geelong are a good side, but to lose at home by 76 points is, who knows, maybe this Ken Hinkley could be looking like the handover could be happening very soon with games like that.
Yeah, it's a worry because obviously they lost to the Dogs down in Ballarat by a huge margin as well, and we don't know what type of Port Adelaide we're going to get from one week to the next, which is not what you want. You don't want to run out looking around thinking, well, we don't know which side we've got today. That's very, very hard from a supporter point of view, and maybe they try a few more weeks, and if it doesn't work, maybe it's time to go, listen, okay, let's move on with the next phase. Ken Hinkley, and we're not having a go at Ken Hinkley. Ken Hinkley's done an incredible job to be a coach for as long as he has. A few years ago when they played Richmond in a prelim at home, they just missed. That was their chance to win the flag with Ken Hinkley, and You know, they're not going to win the flag this year. They're probably not even going to make the finals this year. But he's done a very good job to be a coach for as long as he has.
You know, after a big loss, they always come out the next week and win. So
you reckon they're
that's
going to win?
issue. That's the issue. That's why he will never go until the end of the year, because they always come out the next week and have a good win. So I think Port Adelaide will come back and have a win this week.
And Dangerfield and Horne-Francis, two very similar players, two amazing players. Hamstrings. We sort of knew that Dangerfield was going to get injured at some stage. The way he plays, his explosiveness, you just know that that's going to happen. But Geelong have to take a super conservative approach from now with him and get him ready for finals. They're going to make finals. They're going to win a lot of games at home. And Horne-Francis, well, being a younger player, doing a hamstring early in your career, that's not a good sign either. Did you do a hamstring?
Not till I was later on in my career,
Yeah.
when I got a little bit older. But I think the Dangerfield one for me, it's an interesting one. They probably look at it in hindsight, they probably should have left him at home, considering how good he's playing. You need him up and about. I think he's a difference for that club, that when he's up and about and playing his best, that takes him to another level. So I reckon they'd probably be ruining that chance they probably should have rested him and left him at home. And then with Horne-Francis, to be doing hammies, and it looked like a real bad one too, could be off the bone, to be doing hammies at, 21, 22, it would be, that's a frustrating one for him.
Dr. Buddy.
Dr. Franklin's in the
Telling
house.
us a hamstring off the
But
bone.
yeah, it looked like a bad one. It could be
Yes.
surgery. So, yeah.
Not good. Fremantle are back. They were pretty good against Collingwood, but I was very disappointed with them that they didn't win, because I thought that was your opportunity, because Collingwood were off a short break. But to go and beat the Giants at home, who had a good win the following week, is this the turning point for them? And Bolton going through the middle. He was good last week through the middle. Those type of players who are super explosive, they can't play a lot of time on ball, but they can do centre bounces and they can drift forward. You know, back in the day, Surioli used to be amazing at that. Stringer at his very best used to be great for the Bombers, drifting to the middle, having an impact through that and then drifting forward. You know, he just adds a lot of spark. He's always on his toes. He moves through the stoppages really well. He's super skilled.
What I will say about that Fremantle win.
And Jackson going into the ruck too.
He changed the game, but it wasn't boring for once. Like, I think when you think about Fremantle, especially this last year, they've been playing boring football. It's not good to watch. Sitting there watching that game was awesome. As a Fremantle supporter, you'd be like, that's what we want to see. You want to see them taking on the game, be attacking, go through the corridor, using the hands, linking up, hitting up the forward, getting it back, like stuff like that. It's good to watch. And I think and the Fremantle players looked like they were really enjoying it. That's what footy's about, is having fun, getting out there, being attacking, obviously defending when you have to defend, but it's about being attacking. And I think that really probably caught GWS off by guard. I don't think they were prepared as well as they probably should have defensively. They were probably expecting a bit of a slower approach. I'm not sure with the way they used the ball, but Fremantle went out all attack and made them pay, and GWS will be fuming at that. They've had some bad losses this year, so their season's on the line this week.
Yeah, and a couple of key injuries to them too might hurt, but they're a good side, the Giants, so I'm expecting them to find a way. Fremantle first quarter against Collingwood was extremely attacking, so it's like the mindset's changed. They've gone foot to the floor, let's go downhill and charge.
Yeah.
So good.
And defensively
that.
they were on too. Their pressure, their tackling was on. I think once you get that defensive stuff right with your tackling, with your pressure, everything else just flows. And I think that was obviously the start of their game. And it was a huge win to come across to Sydney and win like that.
The mighty Bulldogs smashed Essendon by 91 points off the back of coming back from Darwin, and a few of the players were talking about how much weight they lost in Darwin. So they had
I'm not going to lie to you, I turned this game off, Shane.
Did you?
I couldn't believe what I was saying. Essendon.
Did you back Essendon, did you?
No, I didn't back Essendon. But with what I saw, the Bulldogs were on fire, weren't they? They were absolutely on fire. And after quarter time, I turned it off, so I can't really speak on this game too much.
It's been huge by the Bulldogs because you look at the players that were traded at the end of the year, players that aren't around from an injury point of view. You got Jamara, Smith obviously goes to Geelong, who's doing great. Waitman's not playing. Bontempelli was injured early on, but then you got guys like English, Liberatore, Bailey Dale. How can a player have 40? Like if I'm playing against the Bulldogs, I'm circling Bailey
49
Dale,
touches.
and I'm going, they want him to use the ball. He's going to run off half back. We need to make sure that we're putting a lot of time and effort into him. He has 49 possessions, which is a record. McRae had the record in the past, and he's a midfielder playing in the engine room. He had 47, but Bailey Dale had 49 possessions in an AFL game.
Imagine
Once
how
again,
good
it's a
that
bit
would-
like...
I don't know. I've never had that many touches, but I'm sure that'd bloody feel good. Having 49 touches.
Well, how exhausted must he be, especially coming back from Darwin?
But if there's no pressure on him, no one's touching it, which it looked like
But
Essendon. That's what 91 points. If no one's touching it, God, how good. Run around there. It's like training.
But
Training
why
drill.
are we allowing that to happen? And it's like you got Michael Voss, coaching for the Blues. Players get off the chain third quarter, last quarter, who are their best players.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Bulldogs with Brad Scott, who was a run-with type of player himself. I'm like, how on earth can you allow that to happen in a game? It just blows my mind. I just don't understand how it can be possible.
Well, I think a lot of coaches were happy for players to go head to head, but I think it needs to come to a point where if a guy's got off the chain and had 49 touches, at some point you've got to go, well, I need to play on this guy. But good luck to him. 49 touches, and they win by 91 points. But I think Essendon have to have a real good hard look at themselves. Obviously beat Sydney last week, but then to go down by 91 points, I think Bulldogs are a good team, but to lose by that much, it's pretty disappointing for them.
And the best thing for the Bombers is they're playing, it's a quick backup, they play Friday night against Richmond. Dream time at the G, so this is
It's going to be big.
a great way to quickly flick the switch and turn it around. My man, Liberatore, was
your
great
man
again.
crush.
He's going to be not only All-Australian, I think he's going to be All-Australian captain.
Wow.
He's been going. He was on fire. North Melbourne, 4 points over the Tigers. This was a hard watch if you're a North Melbourne supporter. They won a first quarter and I think they were pumped with that. And then Richmond, I'll tell you what, they're exciting. They've got a lot of young players who have just got high energy. Their pressure was through the roof. And this was one that was looking very, very dodgy, pretty much to the final siren. But North found a way to win. They drew last week against Brisbane. They would have been fairly happy with that, even though they had their chances. But, this is a game they had to win. They found a way to win. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
And I'm loving what Richmond are bringing to the table for a side who was expected to not win a game. I think it was a pretty good effort.
Yeah, you could just see, and well done to North Melbourne. I think they've had a really strong 4 to 5 weeks, which has been good for them. But how much talent was out there? You look around at all the talent that was on the ground, they're all bloody top 15 picks running around there.
Yep.
So, the future's bright for both clubs. I think they both should be pretty proud of their efforts yesterday. Obviously, Tigers would have loved to get the win, but just seeing how much talent was out there yesterday was exciting for both clubs, I think.
Sam Layla, number 1 draft pick. Had
But
16
he actually
touches,
looks like Dusty. When
2
you look at him, you're like,
goals. He's a good player.
he's good. He's good. He's a bull. He's going to be a superstar for a
Yeah,
long time.
no, we like him. And, I think it's exciting for Richmond. I also think it's exciting for North Melbourne, but I just think at times they're just trying to have the extra handball and looking for the perfect play, which I don't know if you want the perfect play because it doesn't really happen like that all the time. Zurha was good, kicked 4 goals. Melbourne, the D's are back. Your old team, another one of your old teams.
Yep.
11-point
6
victory
teams I go
against
for,
Brisbane.
isn't it?
It was a great effort by them because Brisbane were looking like they were going to kick away and looked like they were sort of, going to win by a good margin.
Well, D's have won 4 of their last 5, which is pretty good for a team that...
And they pushed Hawks all the way to the third quarter
Yep.
last week. Max Gawn, leading from the front, Petrarca, Oliver running around, being accountable for a player.
Well, as we've said, if
Melcham in the forward line.
If those three, they're three guns. They've been guns for the last 15 years or 10 to 15 years, those boys. If Oliver, Petrarca and Gorney, if they get going, which they have the last few weeks, they're hard to beat. They are. They've got one of the greatest ruckmans of all time tapping it down their throat. If he's up and about, which he is, they're always going to be in the game. And it's good to see for the D supporters. It's been a tough couple of years for them. So for them to win their last 4 out of 5 is huge. And I think it's good to see. Huge game for this week against Swans. I think down at the MCG, that's going to be a massive game. And Melbourne should take some huge confidence over that win to come up in Brisbane. Come up here and beat the reigning premiers at home. That's not easy.
Brisbane were 4 goals up.
And Brisbane were coming off a draw last week, so they were playing for a fair bit.
Bit of fire in the belly, you reckon?
And it shows you momentum. It's a big thing. When a team's on fire and has momentum, everything goes their way. They just took their opportunities. I think halfway through that third quarter, things started to change. And well done to Melbourne. They got the win.
Melcham on Harris Andrews. Melcham kicked 4, I think, or he kicked a few anyway. But just an experienced player trying to drag a very good defender away, but also hitting the scoreboard. And it's very similar to Jack Gunston, a role that he plays at Hawthorn, and I thought he was super.
Just with Brisbane, I think
Brisbane have got
I think they're up the top of the ladder, but I think Danaher not being there is huge, and I think as much as Brisbane will say, it's not affecting us, we're fine with it. It's a massive out.
It's not just forward with Danaher. Danaher would go on the ruck.
He'd go up in the ruck. He'd be second ruck. He'd hit the scoreboard. He'd be down the line mark for him, a release mark.
He's the reason they made the grand final last year and obviously won the grand final too.
So him not being there is huge, and I think they've got I think late Harris Andrews went forward because they needed that target. They just didn't have anything up there that was a real threat. I think Danaher not being there now has hurt them. So it's going to be interesting to see how the back half of the year works out for them. No doubt they've got the talent to hopefully cover it, but I think in the big games you do need a big key forward that can take the marks, and at this stage they just don't have it.
Well, it was work ethic for me. The stuff that I was watching, especially second half, it was just Melbourne just kept working. They were running harder from stoppages. And well done to the
momentum,
Ds.
Shane, momentum.
And
that's
West Coast, congratulations to West Coast, 28-point victory over the Saints. First win of the season. Well done to Andrew McQualter and the Eagles.
What's that first win in, 3 years?
Well, they were good last week against Richmond.
Yep.
Went down by a couple of points, had their chance at the MCG. So their form hasn't been horrendous. It's tough times for the West Coast Eagles, but this is a nice one to tick off.
Yeah, Andrew McQualter, he's doing a good job. I think that midfield looks a little bit different. They're mixing things up, which is good. They're not sticking with the same midfielder all the time. Kelly's been pushed to a half forward, which has changed things up. Who would have thought that Kelly's, you'd think, is their best midfielder, but now he's sort of been pushed out. They're changing things up. They're having different looks, putting a lot of the younger boys in there, and I think it's working. The young guys look hungry. They're running across the ground really well, and to get that win against St Kilda, they've been pretty good this year, St Kilda, but to get that win, hopefully gives them a little bit of confidence, and hopefully they can string a few more games together, which would be nice.
And I think with all the young kids, like when your team's not winning, when it's a great opportunity, especially in your developing stages, you can play them because you can cop losses at times because it's all about giving that experience. So, and it's amazing what you find when you do try players in different positions. You find out a lot about your group and a lot about your players.
Sorry, and Saints beat West Coast in a lot of the stats.
Yep.
Which is...
Well, they had Marshall and Sinclair who were great. Higgins kicked 5. Yep. So, I thought the Saints had been going okay, but this is one that they would be extremely disappointed in.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd be fuming at that. To not come over and beat West Coast over there, that'd be one they'll be like, well...
It's becoming a fortress.
It is. It's becoming a fortress.
Away you go. Now you're listening to the Buddy and Shane show for AIA Australia, a life, health and wellbeing insurer with a commitment to helping Australians lead healthier, longer, better lives. It's time now for
Buddy's Young Star of the Week for the Kia Tasman. Reserve yours now.
Buddy's Young Player of the Week. Now, Bud.
I have gone with Georgie Wardlaw from North. I thought he's
How tough is he?
He is. I actually remember it was probably in his first couple of games at North. I went to get a ground ball, and then he came over and absolutely nailed me. He was in his first couple of games. I was like, who the F was that? But no, he's rock hard. He's rock hard. And he just goes 100 miles per hour. And, you know, as a older player watching that, like, you just love it. You love the way he goes about it, I think. What he's been doing the last few weeks, but since he first started to now, he's come a long way, and he just keeps getting better, which is always nice. 10 tackles. Like, he only had 14 touches. He gets up between 14 and 20 touches, but it's the tackling, it's the pressure, it's the intensity with which he goes about it, which sets a tone. And I'm sure Clarko absolutely loves him, and all the boys love playing with him, so it's good to see.
Yeah, I'm glad you said pressure as well, because it's not all about getting the footy. And Viney from Melbourne is like that as well. It's like when the opposition get it, it's like their eyes light up and they just charge, and we love that. And there was a great play late in the game.
Late, there certainly was. It was on Boston. It was a 50-50 ball, and he just went bang. And, you know, he's only in a couple of years in the system. To do that against a seasoned player really set the tone, and I think they kicked a goal from it. So that'll be the things that Clark will be highlighting today. He's going, this is what we need. We need more of that consistently, and it was well done.
Yeah, good choice. We like him. Well done,
which is nice.
George Wardlaw. You don't win anything, George, but we're just giving you a pump up. Well done.
Some more black boots or something.
That was Buddy's Young Star of the Week. Good on you, George. Thanks to the Kia Tasman, the most Australian Kia ever developed. Built tough, tested hard, just like George, and ready for anything, whether you're hauling, towing, or taking a road less travelled. The Tasman is made for the job. The Kia Tasman, reserve yours now. Yeehaw! Hey, let's talk about Bailey Smith, because Geelong are taking on the Western Bulldogs Thursday night. Talk about being in form. Could he win the Brownlow? Yes, he possibly could, but he's up against his old club. So how tough is that? Because you obviously came up against the Hawks after heading off to the Swans. So talk about that from a playing perspective. What goes through your mind? Do you overthink it? Do you circle that when you first see the draw come out? Do you think about it all year? How long does it drag on?
If we're talking about Bailey, I don't think it's going to like, he wouldn't care less. I don't think he sort of he sort of comes across as a guy that is whatever, and just go out there and play footy and just enjoy it. I think looks like he's really excited by the challenge, which is nice to see. But for me, for myself, it was I think a lot of emotion. I think that's one way to describe it. I think there's always emotion when you come up against with players, and like, I'd spent nearly 10 years at Hawthorn, and to play them for the first time was a weird emotion. A lot of anxiety, excitement, just wanting to get it done. I think that's the main thing, and just go out there and have a bit of fun. But, I think with Bailey, he just looks like he wants to get out there and have fun and beat them. I think there's a little bit of anger there, it sort of looks like, with him. I don't know what's happened at the club in the past with him and Bulldogs, but I'm sure there's a little bit of frustration on his part, but it just looks like that with what I'm saying. So I'm sure he'll be ready to turn it on and get a win for him.
Do you think, because he's obviously been playing through the middle a lot, whereas at the Bulldogs they used him more as a link run. He's still doing that at Geelong, but he's taking a lot of centre bounces. So maybe he's got a point to prove. Hey, I'm more than just a floating wingman. Let me go on ball. But then Beveridge, being the master coach that he is, Dangerfield's now out of that side. So all of a sudden Smith is the key ingredient. Does he circle him and say,
I reckon the coach of the year,
he's not getting off the chain today?
I reckon that, Shane. I reckon he'd be listening to the podcast and he'd be like, we need to send someone to Bailey. I think there's no doubt. You have to. Like, when he's probably leading the Brownlow, so he's averaging nearly 30 touches. He's in career best form. You need to send someone to him. And
because we know he's got a huge engine, so you can split it. You can chop and change. You got Richards through there. You got Liberatore through there, playing negative around stoppages, but you still want them to go and win the footy. I think you can. I think you can flip it a little bit, but I'd be very, very surprised if he was racking up 30 plus in this game.
He's got a hard edge to him. He smiles and whatever, but he's got a hard edge to him. So I think someone coming to him won't faze him because he's got work rate. Yep. He can work through it. He's pretty physical. So that is going to be an absolute cracking game. I think it was something I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, thinking they were going to play each other. But I got a little bit carried away. But this is going to be, I think, one of the games of the season.
Thursday night must.
It's going to be a Thursday night must.
So, Bud, Geelong Western Bulldogs, Thursday night. It's a must-see match. It's at Geelong. Who are you tipping?
I'm going to go with Geelong. I think.
Geelong? You're going to go with Geelong? Because it's down there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think...
okay.
I think they're going to be too strong. I think it's going to be too strong, Shane.
Okay, there you go.
That's just my tip.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We've gone through it. I think down there you got to play a contested team. You know, you can't just pick your best team. You got to play a contested team down at the Cattery, and the Bulldogs are too hot. They're red hot. Yeah. So I'm going with the Bulldogs.
50-50.
So one of us is going to be right, possibly. Might be a draw.
I think it's 50-50. Both great teams going at it. I think, as I said before, it's going to be the game of the season, that's for sure. So tune into that one. Well, that's it. I do want to finish with, remember you can tune in on all our socials. So, get yourself involved. But I do want to finish with to the Walls family. Robert Walls was an icon of our game, a great coach, great player who passed away during the week. Last time I saw Robert Walls was down at Dalesford. I was filming a travel show and I saw him down at the lake and he was walking his dogs and had a great chat. That was a few years ago. So, our condolences to the Walls family and also the Selwood family, which is a horrendous time for the family. Troy Selwood passing away a few months ago, and then his brother Adam passed away on the weekend. And God, you just don't know what to say in these situations. But we, from the Buddy and Shane show, we send all our love and our condolences to the family, and then we're thinking of them. I'd been through a situation with my brother passing away a few years ago, took his own life, and it's horrendous. So, you don't really know what to do. You don't really know how to move forward, but you just got to, hopefully take in all the love that gets surrounded by everyone, and you really can't sort of make sense of it all too. And that sort of lingers and stays with you forever. You think about it every day. You go on a roller coaster every day with it all. The only thing that gets better is you learn to deal with it better from day to day. So to the Selwood family, all our love. Thanks for listening to the Buddy and Shane Show.